From the heart of the land, where the Guardians swing for the fences and the dog pound roar, the Cavs soar, and heartbreak is just part of the game. This is 3 and Out, Cleveland Sports Talk, with Jason, Drew, and Michael. 3 diehard fans breaking down the highs, the lows, and everything in between. No fluff, no filters. Just Cleveland sports the way it's meant to be. Now let's get into it.
Welcome. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome into 3 and Out. This is a brand new podcast that we're currently in the process of putting together and making. We are a group of guys that are just Cleveland sports fanatics, guys. We're just in it to win it, even though we don't seem to do very much of the winning. But we're 3 guys. My name's Michael. We have Jason and Drew who will be joining us on later podcasts. I'm just going to spend about 10-15 minutes on this first one and kind of introduce what the show is and what it's about and give us a little intro here, maybe talk a little sports while we're at it. But for the most part, we just are a group of guys that started a text group that over time we've really hit some topics where we thought, boy, it'd be really nice to just kind of chat this out and talk these out. These are fun ideas, and so we decided to put together a podcast from our views. We want to keep it lighthearted, we want to keep it fun, we want to have a good time, but we also need a place to vent and to release our frustration towards the Cleveland sports guys. So here we are. So today we're introducing you to the 3 and Out podcast, all Cleveland sports talk, where I imagine we'll spend the majority of our time talking Browns because that's kind of where we are, but I want to work some Indians and some Cavs in there as well, or Guardians, whatever we have to politically call them now. But for the most part, let's just get at it. So I've been bouncing some thoughts around the fact that, we're looking at quarterbacks here right now, and it's just been a crazy roller coaster. You go from franchising or jeopardizing the whole franchise by trading for Deshaun Watson and the excitement that initially brought me. My initial gut said this is something I'm really glad we missed when we first didn't get him. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, shoot, he's coming here. And then you're obviously, as a Browns fan, able to get yourself excited about it because he's coming here. And now the debacle that's turned into, we haven't had first-round picks. Our money's tied up. Andrew Berry's done a great job, in my opinion, at being able to capitalize on that and get, different people in here for good prices and stuff. And, you got to give it to the organization. We've definitely been throwing it all out there, trying to get the best out of what we have and go after a win. But at the end of the day, we're sitting here with a $230 million guy who can't even play right now. And when he does come into play, he'd almost be better off sitting on the bench than he would be entering the game. And so now here we are. He's injured again for doing something stupid, allegedly, off the field when he should have been just putting a boot on and getting the rehab. So now we've had numerous options available at quarterback, ranging from, do we bring Joe Flacco back in? Do we go after Russell Wilson? Do we bring Jameis back? Do we make a trade for Kirk Cousins, which seemed to be the hot rumor? There was talks of the possibility of bringing Sam Darnold in before he went off and signed with the Seahawks. Then, over this last few days, the news of the Browns potentially trading for Dak Prescott was a very big boom. Here's the reason Myles Garrett decided to stay. It was because we're going after Dak Prescott. And it looks like that's turned out to be just completely bogus information. And now, in the midst of all of that, I've seen Carson Wentz's name pop up, which, I don't know. I mean, could he be a good stopgap for, a season or two while we put a rookie in? I don't know. It depends on the rookie, I guess. Depends on where the mindset of the whole organization is on going that route. But at the end of the day, we have no idea who our team is going to pick in the draft. We have some ideas, I guess, thoughts, if you will, on where we think they're going to go. But at the end of the day, we don't have a quarterback. We've got Kenny Two Small Hands Pickett, couldn't cut it in Pittsburgh, couldn't cut it in Philadelphia, as our only quarterback going into the season. Now, I know Deshaun Watson is on the roster still, but as far as going into the season, that's literally our only guy right now. And I don't know that I like that at all, even a little bit. I will say this. The Kevin Stefanski offense has made some quarterbacks that nobody really ever thought had anything in their tank, or maybe they had something in their tank at one point and they came here to play and they revived it. Joe Flacco, for example. PJ Walker, nobody thought he was going to be able to do some of the stuff that he did. Not that I'm saying he's a great quarterback or did a great job, but he definitely was able to manage a team, and I didn't think that was possible. Joe Flacco left us and went to Indianapolis. He didn't do anything with Indianapolis, but over here in Cleveland, dude was leading us to the playoffs. So I look at all of that and I think, okay, I feel like we can get a guy that maybe has a decent ability, a good head on his shoulders. Like, let's go Carson Wentz, for example. Carson Wentz was a top-tier quarterback coming out of college into the NFL and never developed into what everybody thought he was going to be. But is it a possibility that he could come here to Cleveland and in the Kevin Stefanski offense could be where Sam Darnold was this last year? Same scenario. A guy that really hadn't won much, hadn't done what he was supposed to be, hadn't lived up to the expectation, and boom, hits over there in Minnesota, and he looks like a number one overall quarterback. Could that be Carson Wentz? Possibly. Do I think it will be? No, I haven't seen enough of him to really think that that's a possibility. Well, brings me to my next scenario that I didn't mention in the other ones because I'm up and down with this one as well. At the same time we're talking about trading for Dak Prescott, lo and behold, Kirk Cousins shows up at Chipotle down by the Browns practice facility. Coincidence? No, I don't think so. I don't know where that's going to go, but I know that he's come out and vocally said that there's no way that he wants to be traded to a team right now before the draft because he wants to go a place where he can play. He got burned in Atlanta. By burned, I mean he signed a massive contract and will be set for the rest of his life, but didn't get to play as much as he wanted to play, which I'll give him that. That's awesome that he still wants to compete and play even after being paid. But I get it. You want to go someplace. You want to prove that you are the guy. You don't want to get to a spot where they're drafting a guy with a number 2 overall pick to be your replacement by midseason. But I look at all of the options out there at quarterback. Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. I wanted Daniel Jones. I thought that was a good pick. It would be a good snag. Joe Flacco, Jameis Winston, all of these guys, Carson Wentz, all of these guys, the one that makes the most sense to me is Kirk Cousins. Financially, I don't know how they swing it. That's up to them to figure out how they would pull that off. But I think he makes the most sense from this perspective. From the perspective of some of his best years of football were in Minnesota when Kevin Stefanski was the offensive coordinator. So you bring Kevin Stefanski to the Browns to be the head coach who also runs the offense. You got a guy in Kirk Cousins who could come in here and already knows the guy's system. Every quarterback that we brought into this point has had to learn the system, and it is shown in the first few games that they've played. Imagine where you could be if you can bring in a guy like Kirk Cousins who already knows the system and knows the language, knows kind of the things to expect on how the defense is going to play certain scenarios and certain situations on where we could be. I do feel like, as far as a stopgap goes, he's probably our best option. Now, this is a topic, as we get into more of the podcast, we're going to dive into because the boys, Jason and Drew, they have their opinion, and I definitely want to get into a little bit of an argument with them about that on who likes that and who doesn't like that. But for sake of it just being me today, and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks because I'm talking. Just kidding. I think Kirk Cousins makes the most sense out of all of our options out there at quarterback right now. I don't know what you have to give to get him. I don't know how the financials work. That's not my job to worry about. But like I said, I feel like that would be a good option. My other question that I'm thoroughly confused about is where the heck is Nick Chubb? Why has his name not been mentioned, not only with the Browns, but anywhere in the NFL right now? Like, there hasn't been a single rumor on where he may land or where he may end up, or if we did a sign and trade, or if he just decides to sign somewhere else. Like, there's just been no talk. So those are things I'd like to get into as far as the Browns are going. The Myles Garrett situation, I was kind of on the fence with that. I thought that would be an okay time. The guy wants out. Let him out. Let him go. Let him do his thing and get a haul for him and draft picks and maybe a young player or something like that. But I'm not going to lie. He's back, and I am thrilled that he's back because there wasn't much in the way of defense past him. So to bring back a guy of his just sheer athleticism and strength, quickness, just talent, you're not going to not bring that guy back. So I'm glad that all got worked out as a positive, and we'll get to have him for years to come now. And back to the Nick Chubb thing, all the rumors associated with that signing were that he said that he needs to have Nick Chubb back, which if that ends up working out, phenomenal. We're not that far off. I don't think we brought in some linemen. We brought in some depth at D tackle. We've addressed the linebacker situation slightly. We're heading into the draft. There's some good talent in the draft, depending on what we end up targeting, obviously. But those are all good scenarios. Baseball is back. The Guardians are on the verge. Let me see. They won their home opener against Kansas City, and it looks like they're on the verge of pulling off another one today. Oh, no, they're actually in the top of the ninth as we speak, and they're down 4-3. But I'd love to dig into some of their stuff as well. Are they the real deal this year? I mean, we've only got 2 games to judge, but let's look that roster over. Let's look at the trade of Jimenez, what we got in return, what we've got to put in the place of him for right now. Let's address the pitching. Let's look at all this stuff and break down this roster. I love our coach, our manager. They don't like to be called coaches in baseball. I love our manager. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. I think he's heading in the right direction. I think he had a lot of rookie mistakes he made this last year, but they still managed to overcome them. So I'd love to, over the course of some time, let's start digging into these Guardians and see where they're at and see what we think about the Guardians. The Cavs, I feel like they're the real deal. I feel like Atkinson has these guys right where they need to be. I know some people are getting bummed out because they've lost a couple games in a row. Well, they've also won quite a few in a row as well, and they're also still learning systems, and they're still playing lights out basketball. So I'm really anxious to dive into all of this stuff and talk more about this. When the playoffs start, how far do they push? How far do they make it? Are they championship caliber right now, or do we feel like they need another couple years to grow and get stronger? I feel like the pieces are all there, guys. The Hunter trade, to me, kind of sealed the deal that we were. I won't say that put us in. I guess I will. I will say that put us in a championship contender mode, because now we've got a solid defensive wing that can also score. He's coming off the bench and doing it in a very violent way almost. I think he completes the picture between what you get from Mobley and Allen and what you get in Garland and Mitchell. You put him right in the middle, and he complements both sides of what those guys bring to the table so well. So I feel like that move, with the depth that we have coming off the bench, with the depth that we have just in general on this team, the heart, the grit. Last night they had a game where they were down by almost 20 in the third quarter, and they came back and almost won it. Just a team that you'd never watch and go, oh, they're out of it. They've always got that ability to come back and really hit it home. So these are all things that over the next few weeks and months I want to just dive into and break down. We got the draft coming up. I really want to get into some draft talk with the boys and get some stuff out on the table with that, get some different views and opinions. But for right now, I just wanted to get us started on this podcast, and I want to get the conversation rolling. I want to get us moving in the right direction with getting you guys as our fan base, rolling with us and talking, leaving some comments, giving us some topics that you'd like to hear us discuss. Throw some rumors you've heard at us. Let us discuss those out loud for you. The group of guys that we have, we're fun. We like to just talk our team. We're all dads, and we just enjoy doing stupid stuff and talking teams, talking sports. So appreciate you guys all stopping in and joining us for today, and look forward for our podcast. Again, welcome to 3 and Out. We look forward to talking with you some more.